Hey guys, we're back in Transport Fever 2, and I'm already confused as to what to do. I have a general theme of an idea for what I'm going to do. I haven't played on since the last video, at all. I've kept it paused now, I've kept the date paused. So it's literally just as we left, like, these vehicles are in the exact same place. So I'm not quite sure as to what to do this one. However, I have a few potential ideas in mind. I was thinking maybe we could build our first train line out from Eastwood, or we could continue to populate our bus thing in Eastwood. And given that these buses take a while to get, like, to earn their money back, I was thinking, let's build a short little train line first. So let's go somewhere that we're unlikely to serve with buses because there aren't roads at the moment. And staying on this side of the river because bridges are expensive. So with that factored, I'm thinking putting a train station about here and another one in Seaton. In Seaton, well, once we get to Seaton, it's an easy extension to Chesterley Street. And this will be the start of the network on this side of the river. So, this gives me an opportunity to demonstrate the capabilities of the modular buildings once again. Okay, so first of all, this building size here is a mod. So here it's on auto, and it's using a small building, but if I want a bigger building, or an even bigger building, I can just click. So if I have a station I'm wanting to expand, but only doing that in future, I can do that right here. For now, I'm going to use a small building, because you can replace that as well. You can basically destroy and rebuild the entire station if you want. That's how much power this game gives you. But uh-oh, okay, good. But I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to extend this road out. $160 meters should be all we need for the next, easily foreseeable future. So here, and we have our little walking connections. So that station is in the town now. It's got some range. Well, it's got some catchment. We can extend that catchment further by putting a set of steps and linking it with a road up to our bus station. But seeing as we're already in range of the bus station, I don't think we'll need to do that. And given that I'm also planning on expanding the station, I don't think it's particularly wise either. So, tracks. Now this is pretty straightforward, just like Transport Fever 1. On the end of the track, you place a little nubbin on it, and you build. Now, unlike the older Tycoon games, where the track would follow the terrain pretty closely, and you'd end up with quite unrealistic little roller coaster tracks, this changes the gradient quite gradually, and that's something you've got to watch out for, because you can end up spending a ton of money on embankments and troughs and bridges and tunnels and things. Another thing you'll notice is the cost of building things in this game is quite expensive. That station was over 100,000. This little piece of track here is 14.5. So you have to keep all of this in mind when you're building your network. And I doubt demolishment of anything. Oh, demolishment is pretty similar to how it was in the old game. Demolition even, not demolishment. It sounds like something very different. I don't know what it sounds like. It just sounds different. Link that up. And that's created a level crossing. You need to be wary of where your level crossings are, because they can cause your track to do uglies. Now the run to Seaton, we're quite lucky. This is our first one. We have a few lumps to contend with, but apart from the lumps like that one, it's not that bad. And if we build in small sections, we can tackle each individual lump as it comes. And that will make our railway just a little bit cheaper to build. So, now that we're nearing Seaton, I've just demolished more than I wanted to. No. Clicking the wrong buttons. I have muscle memory from Transport Fever 1 that is really enthusiastic about existing. So we're going to do this. It's not parallel at all, but it will be a nice angle for our trains to just zoop. I told you zoop is a verb now. If you want to rotate, so if you want to rotate around in these big increments, it's the M and N keys. If you want to do the little ones to get it perfectly parallel, it's you hold shift and press the M and N keys. I find the controls in Transport Fever games to be very intuitive. Some people don't, but that's just my personal taste. I really like the M and N for rotation. And that is our line finished. We have a single track railway line. We can only run one train on this, but that's all we need. It's 1850. We will need the capacity to run more trains later on in the game, but that's just a case of adding more tracks. Really, you don't need to go much beyond 2 tracks, so long as you have enough signals. Oh yeah, this is a mod as well. I have the Killer Kansas UK signals, both the semaphore and the light signals for when they come in, because I'm British, as you can probably hear, and I like my trains to run on the left. So that just allows the trains to run on the left. Jesus. No, we want train. We want buildings. Train depot. Now, because this is just where we're starting for the moment, I'm going to put it near the station. Later on, you'd want to put these along the route, maybe even just have one centralized depot for the whole network, although that is quite a challenge. Now, I want this curve to be even, and you can see, effectively you can use the speed limit as a marker for how even your curve is. There we go, so that's both sections of this curve, the junction and the main body of the curve, have the same speed limit. So that gives us reasonable evidence to believe that that curve is even. Right, so we have spent investments, tracks, 480,000 on building just the tracks. That's quite a lot. but we have 2 and a bit million to spare. So let's buy some trains. Now, everything apart from the Baldwin 6 wheels, the D1/3, and the Russian V class and the Russian class V are mods. In terms of coaches, everything apart from the D13 coach, the Nicolas, and the American passenger car are mods. I'm not sure what are mods, but you should be able to see what's a mod with the freight cars. There are a lot of different freight cars. It's why freight's so confusing to me. So, we have this 240 crew type freight, 56 kilometers an hour. The crew type passenger, the crew type single, does 76 kilometers an hour. Now our speed limit is 120 kilometers an hour, so that's fine. Now, this is the LNWR 222 Bloomer, does 72 kilometers an hour. If we look at this generic early British engine, it's effectively 040s and 042s, which is quite nice. And these do 50 kilometers per hour. The D13 does 40, the 6-wheeler does 40 again, and the Rocket does 45. The Bloomer is very expensive, the crew type's more expensive, is expensiver. The crew type freight is less expensive actually. The Crampton, wow, that's not that much. It's quite fast as well. Then you have the LNWR 420 long boiler. Which is a repaint of the D13 and some of the numbers fiddled. And there's this LNWR 422 Cornwall. We're starting this with a lot of London North Western trains. This is just basically... Oh, and also this Liverpool and Manchester engine that's quite well known. So... the Bloomer is quite powerful. But this Rocket is really cheap. So, here's another thing about the Transport Fever 2 menu system. This buy button buys what's in here. This add button adds what you've selected to here. And then this quantity button is the number of what's in here that you want to buy when you click that. So you click add. And then you can review your consist here and then buy it. So, this Rocket, it does 45 kilometers an hour. Let's compare that with the stops. Yep, it's about as fast as the Russian Class V. Ooh, we don't necessarily want to click it yet. That said, we want a nice fast engine. So, let's go with the Bloomer. Or should we go with the crew type? It's slightly slower, but it's got more tractive effort. Oh, it emits more though. See, look at all of these things you have to factor in now. It makes it a very challenging game to play. Much more so than the older Transport Fever game. I can say that for certain. So let's go with the Bloomer. And you notice here, some of these have multiple variants attached to them. This is where you select your variant. So if a modded train comes with multiple different colour schemes, you just click this one option and you get all the colour scheme options here. So let's go for... Yep, these all carry the same, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, they all carry the same. Even the brake van carries passengers. so that's fine. Let's go with or even 72. The Bloomer does 72, so that's fine. This Nicolas does 40. The D13 does 40. That does 60. How much is this? 251. That's 174. Carries 5. That carries 6. The LNWR is 234. Compared with 251. Carries 5. 5. Now, here's the thing. You have to watch your speed of the wagons you put behind the engine, because you can have the most amazing engine that can do all the speed, but if you put a slow coach behind it, the coach doesn't adapt to the engine's top speed. The engine adapts to the coach's top speed, or vice. It doesn't go the other way. Like, if the engine has a lower top speed than the coach, then the train will go at the engine's speed. If the coach has a lower top speed than the engine, then it will go at the coach's top speed. So whichever one's lower. So, let's buy these. These are just nice looking coaches. And we'll go for the single colour one, so that when we colour the train, we don't need to worry about clashing with the secondary tone on these, which does not change. So, oh, I nearly clicked buy. So let's get, let's start with 3 coaches. Let's start with 3 third-class coaches and 1 rear brake. So we'll 1, 2, 3, and 1 rear brake. Oh no, that's a bad. That's a dual tone. We just want a single tone. And that has added our vehicles together. With 24 capacity, we can do 72 kilometers an hour. And it's 44 meter long train. And that is our performance. So on a flat, we'll get to 72 kilometers an hour in just over a minute. If it's slightly sloping, it will take 3 minutes to get to that speed. On a high slope, we will only be able to get to 43, but it will take 101 seconds to do that. So that's where you can see how the weight your engine is hauling is affecting the performance of the engine. Because remember, these are dead weight. These cannot drive themselves. So we only want 1. Set line, new line. And we'll click Eastwood. Seaton. Set the colour. Now I like my trains to be green. However, we don't have a green that's that low. Oh no. You know what? Let's go with this purple. Purple's also nice for trains. And the name will be Rail Eastwood to Sea. Eastwood to Seaton. It's lovely purple. I think it's purple. I'm colourblind, by the way. So now we're playing the game, but not playing the time forward. As I say, this train is a mod. Everything in this train is a mod. So now I can go details and colour it. Let's go back to this. And I can colour it purple, like the line. That actually looks quite nice. Now overview, you can see how fast it's going. It's doing quite well. And now that we've done most of our spending with this year, we can repay. And that looks quite nice. We have our train. Now if we go here, we have like a drone cam at the front of the train. You can use the arrow keys to sort of move the camera around, and the WASD keys also move it around. But if you want to move the camera forwards and backwards like this, you have to use the arrow keys. W and S make it go up and down. And you can get quite attractive looking thumbnails. like that. Ooh. Or perhaps like that. Thumbnail already. After the last episode, I actually had to go back into the game and take a thumbnail because I forgot during the video. Oh, we're already doing our maximum speed. Very nice. So let's see if anyone's waiting. At Seaton, no one's waiting, and that's because no one's in range. Because it's on the end of a road. So let's just build a little road. Ooh, not like that though. That links up with the rest of the town like that. I doubt that's done much. Nope. At Eastwood. Nope, no one's waiting for this either. Although we will have to wait for it to get itself going. Now, on our bus routes with multiple vehicles on them, these ones, they will space themselves out slowly over time. So that they will come at an exact frequency based on the number of vehicles there are and how long it takes to complete the line. So that, you know, we're getting good usage. Now, that road is being extended down by the AI. So I'm going to give it a little bit of incentive by expanding our road here. And then I'm going to expand that and expand this along. And that's created a nice little handy dandy shortcut for the residential. So rather than having to go around here, or rather than having to go around here to get to the residential up here, there's this route there which is more direct if you just drew a straight line, like hold a ruler up to the monitor. This route is marginally quicker, and it will put a few more houses in range. And it hasn't, because it's just that far away. Ooh, what's this? That's a residential building. This game looks really good. Like, it looks so good. The graphics are definitely a bit on the cartoony side, but the fact they're so consistent is what makes it so realistic. And the textures are really good as well. My one issue with the Transport Fever games is that starts to happen when you're quite far away from the building, or the object in question. Another thing that's different about Transport Fever 2 that makes it a bit challenging is private transport exists from day one. From day one, the people will have their own private vehicles, and they will want to get places with those private vehicles, and they might cause traffic that will make your buses go slower. Now, in Transport Fever 1, private transport was pretty much the enemy. The private transport made it so that they were just causing traffic and they were taking away from your revenue. So what you could do very sneakily is sever the link between two towns, and it would stop the private transport from going and taking money away from the train. But where you were linking two towns with buses, you couldn't do that, and you were just having traffic jams. So they must have made a conscious decision to change that. Obviously they did. But they've changed that with this one. And now transport for the private transport factors in to the town growth. So if you add a connection to a town by road, it will add to here, private transport, and it will increase the town growth. So if I were to build a road between Seaton and Verwood, that would give a few extra destinations to the people of Seaton by their own means of transport. And that extra link to the outside world will make them grow. So here at Eastwood, my emissions reductions tactics have worked, and we're not having any deductions for emissions. So having the bus stop out here and going through the commercial and industrial areas rather than through the residential areas, it means that we're less likely to be efficient at attracting people, but it means we're not losing any town growth from this. And in fact, it's already grown. We started at 185, and its target is 222. And we have 2 people. Now if I go to Seaton, no one is currently waiting at Seaton. But this train looks really nice. The option for some darker hues would be nice, but this is good enough, I think. Right, so what I'm going to do, I have my line maps. No, I don't. I don't want this. I want to be able to see what kind of buildings they are. So Orford is the one that we're targeting. It does go through the residential. That's bad. But what we can do is we can put a stop here in the industrial area, and send it via that stop, and it will start picking up people from the residential area, and also take the buses themselves away from it, like away from the residential, which just makes them happy. Oh, you see the age of the buses ticking up there in real time. We can do the same here with the Manchester route, although it will be more of a builders and they will come situation, because it comes out here through the top of the town. So let's put a bus stop in and make it so that the buses will stop both ways. They have this little intermediate stop, it goes on the side of a road. I don't have money, so let's borrow back up to the 5 million loan that we started with. Okay, now stop there, and because they're so close, they've become one stop. So now go here, select the Orford line, manage line. Good. And it will stop there, and there. And that will send it through that way, and it will bring some more people into Eastwood sidings, which will bring more people into Eastwood rail station. I would do something similar with Seaford, but no matter which way I cut it, the buses are going to end up going through the residential. We have 1 person waiting. Train is there with 2 people on board. Let's see how much money this makes us. Zoom. I will be changing the speed units to miles an hour because that's just what I know. 72 kilometers an hour means nothing to me until you say it's about 45 miles an hour. It's like, oh, okay. 72 kilometers an hour, I think is 45, pretty much on the dot. Or is it 47? I don't know. And they made us 24,000 of the currency. Now we have 2 on board again, so they're going to make us 24,000 the other way. And that's not anywhere near enough to cover the running costs of that vehicle, but the demand will grow over time slowly. And at Eastwood, it's going to grow faster than at Seaton, because at Eastwood, we have a little commuter service effectively, with the stop at Springfield Road serving this part of the residential district. So I need to clear my throat there. Let's see where our train is again. Now Right, speed it up. I like to run the game at the 2 times of game speed. Let's sit down at this level crossing. Oh, my cat's shouting at me. Yep. He's shouting at me, that's adorable. My cat's just been sitting on my bed and now he's shouting at me. Am I way ahead of the train? Yes, I am. He's trying to jump off of something. Yep, there he goes. That was my cat. He's a silly boy. Oh, there we go. Zoom. Good looking train. Oh, in the last episode, the screen recording was frankly terrible. I was using my graphics card, which is not powerful at all. It's, well, by current standards anyway. It's an AMD Radeon R9. I was using that to film the, to encode the last, thing. So that wasn't going well, and it's also AMD's video encoding, which isn't as good as Nvidia's, but I don't have an Nvidia graphics card, so I can't do anything about that. I'm now using my CPU, which should be fine for now. I say that because when you get to the late game, Transport Fever becomes just as CPU intensive as it is GPU intensive. Right, did you see that? The red number just came up off the train station. Your infrastructure has running costs. In Transport Fever 1, your infrastructure may or may not have had running costs, and if it did, it was 1 or 2 things. Maybe it was your stations only, and it was quite negligible. Now, all of it has running costs. Your stations, your tracks, your depots, all of it has running costs. And they are, well, obviously you have to pay them because they're running costs, but they're much more. So all your costs are pretty, I would say inflated, but yeah, not really inflated, are they? Right, I just saw something there that made me no happy. Private transport went through the bus depot, or bus station. That is not... Jesus. Why is my throat like this? That is not something I want to see, however I don't think it's something I can avoid. And it's probably just one of the things of having through access in your bus station. Right, let's check over here. 10 people are waiting at Springfield Road. Let's check our line frequencies. I don't know where you can see that. Hang on. No. I don't know how you can see that. Yeah, you have to go into the line itself. So the frequency is 7 minutes. Okay, now we're playing the game at twice speed. This isn't going up at real speed 1 second per 1 second. It's going up at twice real speed, because we're playing it at twice speed. Right, so we have people waiting there, we have people waiting there. The train's on its way back, and it is carrying 3 people. Springfield Road has 16 people waiting at it now. I'm gonna shut my door, it's come open. I'm back. The door is shut. We can keep going. You know, I'm really liking this little railway. What is its frequency at? 7 minutes. Aha! Look at this little thing. Now, I made the line London bus red. Let's make... Ooh, that's not that great looking, but, you know. It's just like the recolor tool in paint.net. It sort of messes up a... Is that a bear? Yep, that's a bear. Yeah, there's animals now in Transport Fever. There's animals. This is Animal Fever. Look at these little horses. They look so funny. It's like they're all... It's all moving. The entire horse is moving. And then there's just a guy with a top hat. Now, something that can happen is bus stops can overcrowd and people will get impatient and leave your bus stop to just go and walk to where they want to go. The same thing for pretty much any of your stations. There's one person waiting there now, and the train has just left Seaton with 4 people on board. It's slowly picking up. When that train starts to run about half full, I'll be starting to think about double tracking the line and running a second train. And that will increase frequency, which will increase demand, which will increase the people. I can word. And just look how nice these graphics are. Oh look, they've got names. They had names in the old game, but still. So, Lottie Thompson is travelling to residential building in Manchester. Think it's this one. Yeah. Via intercity bus. So you can see where people are going after they get off of your buses, trains, trams, planes. You can see where they go. And that gives you an idea as to where to expand a more local network. So because we know that that one person wants to go here, we can have a stop somewhere in this area, provided the noise emissions are low enough that we're comfortable doing that. Now, let's take all of my buses and turn them London bus red. Eastwood's growing nicely. Eastwood's growing really nicely, actually. The public transport destinations are going up as people realise that the train exists. It's still not as many as the private destinations, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. And our target population has gone up to 40%. Now, apparently that initial population adjusts from time to time. It goes up every few game years, or every few game periods. So, that means that you can realistically, or almost realistically, have it keep upgrading while still being only at 40% as it is now. So we could just keep this setup going until endgame, and it would keep growing. It would grow slowly, but it would keep growing. Really, like, have I mentioned I like the way this game looks? Like, come on, the houses have, like, proper hedges and gardens, and they're just lovely. And look, that one even has one of the window shutters closed. That's really nice, I like that. It's got 4 people on board. And yeah, that's really nice. So, we have our first railway line in. I've done some talking, I've done some changing colour of vehicles. I really haven't done much. But we will see what will, well, let's see what will happen next as we go through into the next episode, and maybe I'll start the time running again. See you in the next one. Autosave. See you in the next one. Goodbye.